Good morning. How is everybody? Actually, nobody. This is probably a horrible, horrible time to do a live stream. However, it's 3 o'clock in the morning here in Angeles City, and I'm awake and I've got everything done for the start of my day, and I'm enjoying my coffee. So here I am. Now, what'll be interesting will be is if anybody will actually show up. We'll probably give this about 10 or 15 minutes to see if we can get anybody in the room. It's looking pretty bad right now, but I guess we'll have to wait and see, won't we? The next video that we have going out it kind of peeved me a little bit. YouTube didn't like it, but it is the way it is. But anyway, so Philippines. Let's talk about the Philippines. Questions, answers. You know, we've got 10 years of experience here in the Philippines. And with 10 years, being here for 10 years, well, somebody came in the room. We finally have a couple of people. All right, welcome. This is a terrible time to do a live stream. It really and truly is. It's not our usual time. It's not what we usually do. But whoever's in there, thank you very much. We've got a couple people that are watching. So, but either way, everything going on in the Philippines, you know, a lot of times we do videos about our life here in the Philippines, but it doesn't mean that that's just all there is to it. Lars Long. Good morning, Lars. How are you? Yeah, it's a terrible time to do a live stream, isn't it? It's an absolutely horrible time for our channel to do a live stream. I guess if you have a different audience, all right, or something like that, perhaps. But our usual audience is usually about 5 hours from now. But it's 3 a.m. I'm wide awake, and, that's just what I'm going to have to deal with. McLovin, what are you doing in here? My God. Lars Long, I'm LG on my Pinoy phone in Angeles. Okay, LG, wow. Thanks for making it. And, McLovin's here. I can't believe actually people showed up. I didn't think anybody would. Heath McDaniel, good morning, was thinking this was an odd time for you, like legs bothering you. Yeah, no, my legs weren't bothering me. I'm up all the time at like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning at the latest. Last night, we had a lazy day yesterday because of the weather. Last night, we were watching TV, and I literally fell asleep watching TV at like 8 o'clock. And so I woke up at 1 this morning and just, like railed away, got my calls done to the U.S., talked to my daughter, did everything. And so I said, well, screw it. Why not? So let me see here, McLovin. Let me see if I can do that. I don't know if I have it set up on this one, but I think I do. Boom, 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 boom. Hang on. Let's try this. There you go. There's the link if you want to go live. If you want to pop up, we can give it a try, see how it is. 3 o'clock in the p.m. here in Central Florida. Good morning, Bruce. How you doing? Nice to see you. Yeah. So We almost, just as an aside, I'll tell you when and if we can get anybody in. Oh my God, Slick Rick is here as well. Hold on a minute. That is something different. Let's assign him to guest one. And then we're going to, let's try this. There you go. We got McLovin.
What's up?
Ah, what are you
I'm
doing,
just
young man?
driving.
So
Doing a little driving here, just running some errands today.
how's things going over there in Chicago?
Weather's nice. Weather's nice. City's gone to hell, but the weather's nice.
Well, that's good. That is
yeah.
good.
It's all over the news with the stuff going on here and everything. I'm sure you've seen the news.
Yeah, you know what? Yes, it is kind of crazy. It's things are a little rattled here in the Philippines as well, but what's going on in the U.S. right now is just kind of crazy. Actually, what's going on in the U.S. and what's going on in the U.K. is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I was thinking about you yesterday. So,
Oh,
hope
you had your pants on.
yeah, Richie Rich and Sunshine Shoulders were doing a meet and greet in Manila over at Rockwell. And I told Arlen, I said, you know what? This might be a good excuse. We'll go down to Manila for the weekend. We'll check into the Grand Central. It's right down the road from where they're doing this meet and greet. And, but we'll go to dinner at Fogo de Chao. And I was thinking, well,
nice.
But
Nice.
maybe I should wait because I did tell McLovin when he comes to town. All right. But then I decided, no, I don't want to do
Shit.
I don't want to do a meet and greet with Sunshine Shoulders. Not that I don't like him, I just disagree. His content is not my direction. That's all. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
I
agree with you 100%.
I like Richie Rich. He's great. And, he's, a really nice guy or seems to be. I haven't met him in Chin yet. But, it's just not going to be my kind of thing. But then, because of the typhoon in southern Philippines, and flights being canceled and weather issues, Sunshine canceled his collaboration with Richie. But Richie said, you know what? I'm going to do the meet and greet anyways. So I said, okay, well, then you know what? Maybe we will go. But then we turned into a lazy day, and then we got some stuff they've got going. And I said, nah, I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it. So let me
Sometimes
see.
you need those lazy days.
Yeah, you do.
You do. You need those lazy days. So.
Slick Rick, good morning. Let me answer a couple folks here. You have a little insomnia. I literally fell asleep at 8 o'clock last night watching TV. And so I'm up. I got everything done. And I said, well, there's nothing better to do right now. Heath McDaniel still in Gary, Indiana, heading back home to Southeast Tennessee, probably Tuesday. God, I used to love Tennessee. Tennessee's a beautiful state. It really is. Brewmeister, good morning, Brewmeister. How are you? Hi, Dave. Top of the dough. Oh, zero dark 30. Morning to you, Arlen. Why the hell are you having a live of this? Because I didn't have anything else to do. And that's just the honest truth. I didn't have anything else to do. I got up at 1 this morning. I called my daughter in the U.S., spoke with her. I got a couple emails done. Everything's all caught up. I got pissed off at YouTube. They don't like my next video. they pretty much, I did everything short of canceling my next video. And I said, well, screw you. They told me it would not, is not ad suitable. And so because it's not suitable for advertisers, it means I won't get any monetization. And I could give a shit. All right. I could care less whether, I make my mere 35 cents per video or whatever. That doesn't bother
They
me.
all want that. They all want that 100,000 USD a month budget videos.
Yeah, yeah. And it's kind of like, I'm not going to do a video on how to live on $600 a month, and I'm not going to do a video on how to live on 100,000. There's a million people out there doing budget videos, and I think most of them are wrong, anyways. So, with that being
A
said,
lot of them are wrong.
yeah, I mean, it's just the way it is. Brewmeister just became a channel member. Wow, Brew, thank you so much. Thank you. We've got some videos we're getting ready to post in the members only section. And then we'll be having our first members only, or not our first, but a members only live stream a little later down the road this week. So,
Oh, I got a little public service announcement for you, Mike.
What's up, McLovin?
The new AirPod Pro 3s, the voice translation works, but Tagalog is not one of the languages.
You know what? We looked into that the other day. So I had to go to SM Mall to renew my Philippine driver's license. Arlen and I went. I think I did a video that, we went to the mall and I checked into it. They had the new AirPod 3 and I was like,
That's what I'm talking
about.
That's what I'm using.
Yep. So this is an iPhone 14. It doesn't work. Google that translate doesn't work, but Arlen's got a 15 or 16. I can't remember what it is. All right. Yeah. And I was thinking, well, I can use that when I'm out and about, use her phone once in a while. But no, Tagalog is not support, but they do support Thai, and Chinese, Korean,
Chinese, Japanese.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I'm actually using a new 17 Pro is what I'm on right now.
Oh, wow. How you like it?
I like it. I'm playing around with some of the settings and that, but I like it. It seems quicker. Everything is good. And I went with the basic 265 gigabyte or whatever it was, the lowest one. Because if you're going to do video or whatnot on it, you can either carry a scan disk, has a portable hard drive for 2 terabytes. You plug it right in, it transfers while you're videoing your pictures right onto your hard drive.
Yeah, it does. It does. So
I couldn't see the $500 difference between the terabyte 17 Pro or the 265. I couldn't justify the extra $500 for that when you can get an external drive for $100.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I got to tell you, I guess because I'm old, all right? And because I'm old, I hate doing shit on my phone. I hate, I don't do YouTube on my phone.
Yeah.
I don't do anything on my phone is for text messages. Occasionally I'll take a snapshot that I'm going to use for a thumbnail or something. Stupid, text messages, phone calls, and a thumbnail once in a while. And that's it.
Now, the AirPod Pro 3s, I will tell you that the hearing aid option does work very well.
Really?
Yes.
I might have to look into that, I will.
It works very well.
I will try and show you. I'm looking on my desk. Hold on a second. I don't have it. So I have a little container, okay, that I carry in my bag when we go to the bars, when we go out bar hopping. And I keep earplugs in those things because I know, man, that music is so loud. in
Well,
some of the
uh,
cars.
the noise canceling on these new phones, on these new AirPod Pros, works great, and so does the hearing aid. It's got a hearing aid and a noise canceling that works very well.
I may have to look into that. I might. I might. Europe, welcome to Planet Dirt. Europe is smashing the USA at the golf. Well, um, I watch football and college basketball. Those are the only two real sports that I watch. I'm not a baseball guy and I'm not a golfer. I've never enjoyed golf, but it's nice to know that because I know a lot of guys out there that are out and about do. So if you're into it, Welcome Dirt says the USA is getting smashed. So okay. Dave says, doing just fine and dandy. Good to hear. Welcome, Brewmeister. Which Thai? Yeah, I guess there's different dialects of Thai. So I guess
um,
McLovin's going to have to go to Thailand, travel around, and let us know how it
yeah,
works.
I was going to try it out and go to the Vietnamese nail salon and get a pedicure and
Oh,
listen to and to listen to what the ladies are saying.
there. Oh, you don't want to know what they're saying, McLovin.
Sure,
You
I do, because then I can respond to them. Then I can
you don't
respond
want
to them
to.
and say, "Oh, really?
You,
This affected your tip."
yeah, yeah. You don't want to know what they're saying. Trust me. Trust me, you don't.
I thought about when you were talking about the steaks. I cooked a nice 2.5 pound tomahawk last night on the grill,
Oh, oh my God.
and yes,
How
yes,
nice.
yeah.
How nice. Well,
And my friend says, well, he said, load up on those. He says, because they don't know what a tomahawk is in the Philippines.
no, you won't find it's very, there are going to be very few places you can get a tomahawk.
Yeah.
Very few. And that's just all there is to it. But
Mhm.
so when are you coming back, McLovin?
Should be probably hopefully the end of October, beginning of November. I'm tying up a bunch of loose ends here. You know how it is, getting stuff sold, getting stuff moved, and that's it. And hitting the plane and making sure all my I's are dotted and T's are crossed with banking, health, everything, healthcare, everything. I want, everything double checked and triple checked. You know
Yep.
that.
Yep. That'll be great. I'm
And
looking forward to
so,
seeing
yeah.
you. So you're
Yeah.
going to
So
be
I'll
here in
be in
Angeles for a while?
Mabalaka. I'll be based in Mabalaka for now, and that'll be it. And then whatever,
Good. Yeah.
traveling. But we'll be based though in Mabalaka.
I still think that the Philippines is probably, of all the Southeast Asian countries, I think the Philippines is still the best option for basing yourself out of for
Oh,
travel
exactly.
to
Yeah.
other ones. And then I also still think Angeles is the best city to base yourself out of to travel throughout.
Yeah.
Until until the airport here gets turns into a disaster, if it ever does. It is
Yep.
such an easy in and out, and it's not crowded. And the Clark Airport is it's a dream. It really is.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
Dave says you should get a hobby, Mike. Suggesting maybe macrame. I don't know about macrame, Dave. Okay, this is my hobby. It's fun. And I'm not knocking anybody when I say this. All right, but um, I don't. We don't need YouTube. We don't. I mean, YouTube's money is mice nuts to us. It is just nothing. Now if you need it, if you're an expat who needs that extra income and everything else, more power to you. But for
But
us,
that's got to be a grind, Mike, to make that YouTube money and live off of that.
I
That's a
think it is.
24/7 job, I think, on YouTube.
I think people don't realize how busy YouTube
Oh,
being a YouTube creator. I mean, you know what? I take it back. If you have people, and there are very successful YouTubers that do everything on their phone. And
Yep.
it's simple for them. It's cut and paste. They have an audience that appreciates it and everything else. For me, I like the technical end more than anything.
Yep.
I like being able to present a polished product along with
Yep.
what we do to try and put forward a bit of a professional product. And the
Yep.
challenges for somebody that wasn't trained to do this stuff is. So it's a great hobby, but it does, eat up 3-4 hours a day of my time. But if you're going to retire, I don't want to have a job. And people don't realize that
Exactly.
to become a successful YouTube channel, it's a job because we're not a successful channel. I would not consider us a successful channel. We're a
Well,
hobby.
break your monthly. If you break your monthly, you break your monthly YouTube check down into an hourly wage.
No,
It's not. You have to be making. You have to be making. I mean, a phenomenal amount of money, like some of these number one, top YouTubers. But the average guy that's living off of that 200-300 bucks a month, that's grinding it out. His hourly wage is what, maybe $1.50, $2 an hour he's working for a week.
maybe, maybe not. Now there are people that try and combine, their
Yeah.
day with YouTube and consider it part and parcel. But for us,
Yeah.
it's a hobby, and that's just all there is to it.
Yeah.
So, there's
Yeah, I got to
nothing wrong
comment
with
on that. You're probably going to get some hate mail on this one, but if you have to rely on that YouTube money, you made some poor life choices early on.
that. Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough.
McLovin, I used to think like that, but
Mhm.
over time, I've adopted a secondary thought.
Mhm.
You've either made some poor life choices, or you've had some poor life events. I mean, I know
Yeah.
guys that have been like wiped out of their savings
Yeah.
and everything else, and divorces, done
Yep.
bad business deals, they went into the real estate market at the wrong time and
Yep.
came out at the wrong time.
Yep.
All of those
That's
different, I
true.
mean, life's events sometimes impact people. And
I agree. Yep.
there's nothing you can do about that. You
No,
can't control life. So Bruce
the
says
other side you can. Yeah.
yeah. Tagalog is a very minor language, even in the Philippines. Most people don't use the language, and is essentially used no place else on earth except Luzon. And Bruce is correct. Like Arlen was raised, Arlen is from Mindanao, so that's Bisaya. All right. And
Mhm.
so, she speaks fluent Bisaya, but she also speaks fluent Tagalog and fluent English. But
Yep.
she learned Tagalog because, as Bruce says, Luzon is the major portion of it, but that's where the big TV channels are out of.
Yeah.
They're out of Luzon. All right.
Yeah.
They're based in Manila. They broadcast like GMA News and all of those. That's all in Tagalog. And
Mhm.
so are all the TV shows. And that's how
Yeah.
Arlen learned Tagalog. Um, a couple of her relatives speak very little Tagalog. Um,
Yeah.
Slick Rick says, isn't Tagalog now called or considered Filipino as far as the language?
Mm.
Don't know if that's
No.
exactly what it is, but no.
I said that to Marley, and she's like, "Well, what do you mean by Filipino language?" She says, "Because Marley speaks. She's from Samar. She speaks Wari. She speaks Visayan, and she speaks Tagalog."
Yep.
So, and I'm like, "Oh, okay. I'm sorry for offending you." You
Yeah. And what's funny
know?
is that speaking Waray is really not
Mm.
easy. It's not easy to learn that, according to some of the Filipinos I've talked to.
Mm-hmm.
Arlene understands parts of it, but she couldn't hold a conversation in it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it
It's.
is. Henry
Mhm.
Bautista. Hi, Mike. How you doing? Good morning, Henry. Thanks for dropping in. Holy shit. James is here. The ugly tourist is awake.
Jim
Yeah,
is awake.
James is over here.
He
He's
better, you
saying,
know what? He better get some sleep now because that baby's going to keep him up 24/7.
well, I'm wondering, well, that's what I'm asking now. I mean, James, you're up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Um, for those of you that don't know, James and his wife Ding, they have a channel, The Ugly Tourist, and then James has another channel where he just does walk and talks, Ugly Tourist Uncut, cut raw and unfiltered. They live here, actually not far from me at all. Here in Angeles City, so I hope Ding is okay and she's not experiencing any issues, and that's why you're up late. Tagalog is used by 1% of the world population in any manner, whereas English is spoken by 20%. Yep. And then what's number two? The close, is it Chinese or is it some version of Indian? I can't
I
remember
would
what.
have to say, I don't want to call it Muslim Arabic, Muslim Arabic.
Yeah, I don't know. Somebody
That's what
can
I would
probably
think.
Google that for us while
Yeah.
we're talking.
Islam. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Ruby. Good day, Mike. How you doing, Ruby? How's things? How was your trip back to Australia? For those of you that don't know, Ruby is a incredibly intelligent, well-adjusted, mature Filipino woman. I've met her and her Australian husband. She is smart, 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 and so is her husband. So is her husband. Everybody's saying hello to everybody. Ruby says Tagalog is the national language in the Philippines, medium of instruction in school. Hundreds of dialects, but Tagalog is the main language spoken. Right.
Hey,
Dardos.
Mike, I'm gonna run. I'm gonna run into Sam's Club here. I gotta run.
Okay, take care. Have a good one. Thanks for
Take care.
popping in.
You too. Bye.
Be good.
Anytime.
Bye bye. Oop. Wait a minute. There we go. Okay. So, buenos dias, Dardos. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Welcome to Planet Dirt. I love listening to you, mate. You're full of wisdom. Now, welcome, Planet Dirt. You said mate. So, mate would put you like British or Australian or I don't know. I don't know any of the other countries that do that. Where are you from, Welcome Dirt? English is the de facto language of 67 sovereign nations. Tagalog is used only in some parts of one nation, and that's the Philippines. Filipino, Ruby says, is a combination of dialects, but mostly Tagalog. Okay. It's so hard to deal with it because, quite honestly, there's so many dialects. There's like 70 different dialects here in the Philippines, something like that, maybe more. Ruby, up until a few years ago, my Google Translate used to have Tagalog when I used quite frequently. It's been changed to Filipino. Okay. GMM, with the same logic, Mandarin Chinese is talked by 70% of the world, Hindu 17% of the world. There you go. I thought the Indians were in there somewhere, and so were. Thank you, GMM. Thank you. Where are you from, GMM? Ruby, okay. Luzon or Luzon? It's Luzon. How's the weather? Yesterday was actually a really nice day. We were expecting to get a lot of rain. We didn't. We did have a nice breeze all day. It was really nice. It turned out to be it would have been one of those days that we could have certainly gone out. That's for sure. Ruby says Luzon. GMM says it seems like it's almost only Americans that can't learn a second language, and only 78% of the population of the USA is fluent in English. Yeah, it is not a exposure to other languages. I don't know though. I mean, there's a lot of Spanish or Mexican speaking people in the US. So I don't know. Bruce says the name of Tagalog was changed to Filipino by presidential decree. Really? Huh. Fun fact, more people in the Philippines speak English than Tagalog. And Bruce says Mandarin is in second place. So welcome, Planet Dirt. He is from England. Wow. Tell me what's going on. I mean, I've been watching the news in England, in the UK, about the migrant protests, about the prime minister's staff resigning. And then England pissed me off. I'm going to tell you, Planet Dirt, Starmer pissed me off. All right. When he went out and said, he and the Prime Minister of Australia both pissed me off of recognizing the Palestinian state. I'm totally against that. Totally against that at this point. At this point. So Ruby says today is a big day here with the AFL Grand Final, Australian rules football. I'm going to the big game. Oh, wow, Ruby. That ought to be fun. That ought to be great. I hope you guys have a great time. Now, do they do that like in America? Do they tailgate in Australia? Do they have big parties in the parking lot of the stadium and people grill out, a couple hours before the game opens? That would be interesting. Henry Bautista says Kapua. Okay. GMM, and most Americans can't speak grammatically correct English and bad with their spelling. And that is an issue. My spelling is and can be horrible. English was not, I was not raised in an English speaking household. Although my grandparents spoke English, my mother spoke English, but my mother and her mother were from France. So there was, a lot of French. So I don't know. That's the excuse I like to use. Whether it's a legitimate excuse or not is not up there. GM says, Ruby, yep, correct. And the new ghetto gangsta American sounds like shit. It does, doesn't it? It is. My daughter, I think, knows better than to talk to me. She's very grammatically correct with me. And that's, she knows that's what I want. So Ruby says, is it the Palestinian government that you despise, or is it Hamas? It's Hamas. Hamas is still in control of the Palestinian government. The Palestinian government is controlled by Hamas. Hamas has got to go. And I know that that's not going to sit well with a lot of people. I understand. I get your drift. I'm certainly understanding of it. And in the members section of our, let me see here. Boom. Let me put that up. In the members section, I'm not going to go deeply into it here in the open channel, but in the members section, I am going to be very vocal about terrorist organizations, about protesting with Antifa and political corruption and all of the things that bother me, all of the things that I think are horrible. And I got to keep that out of, because I don't want people in the general chat to have to worry about what they say. Whereas in the members section, I'm going to leave it pretty wide open, but I'm not going to allow personal attacks, obviously. So that's just the way it is. Most Americans can't speak. Oh, I got that correct. The new ghetto. I got that. English is my second language, and I probably have more vocabulary than most Australians. Wow. That's interesting, Ruby. That really is. So how long are you going to be back in Australia before you and your husband come back? That ought to be interesting. I know Ruby is working her way towards the final lap. All right. They have a home here in the Angeles area. Ruby has family here. Ruby was actually raised in the Angeles area. Attended college at UP Dillman. Smart chick. Ruby's smart. She really and truly is. Welcome to a super chat. Well, thank you very much. Welcome to Planet Dirt. That'll help make up for the fact that my next video has been demonetized and is going to be getting probably 0 views based on YouTube not liking its content. So the video that's coming out at 7:15 this morning, 3 hours from now, 4 hours, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. In about 4 hours, I've got a video coming out. And YouTube, I even asked for a manual review of the video. And they said, no, it's not suitable for advertisers. You're going to get limited views and no ads will run, or hardly any. They don't like the content of my next video. And sometimes, because for us, it's a hobby, we don't care whether it makes money or not. We really don't. It's the point of the video that we think is really important. Planet Dirt Starmers is hated. I don't understand this guy. I don't understand him. I have nothing against the Palestinians having a state, but it can't be the basis for a terrorist organization. It really and truly can't. I mean, have you ever looked geographically at Palestine or that area? They could have an incredible opportunity to become one of the world's leading tourist destinations. Its beaches are beautiful. Starmers is hated. GMM, correct language is a class marker nowadays. Doesn't matter if you speak English, German, Swedish, or anything else. 0, the inflation of language is global. Inflection, I think, is what you mean, maybe. But yeah, GMM, you can certainly tell a lot about people by about that. England recognizes Palestine but won't get out of Northern Ireland. Something? I don't know enough about England and Ireland relationships. Maybe I should get educated on that, really and truly. But I do know this. England it's unfortunate, but what I really hate to say is England the future of the U.S.? Are we going to allow migration and illegal immigrants to mold and literally take over the entire government in the United States? I don't know if any of you guys watch 2C TV, SITV. This is an Iranian guy who was strictly against the Iranian regime, the whole 9 yards. Young guy, does a great documentary job. He has almost like a TV newscast. And I saw one of his thumbnails this morning, and I haven't gone back and had time to look at it, where it said that Starmer or England, the UK, is recognizing jihad, that jihad has legal rights. I don't know. I got to figure that out. Welcome to the working class in the UK are rising up against the left in power. Yeah. Our GF will be shown on ESPN across the globe. That'll be it. Maybe we'll see you in the stands, Ruby. If I turn on ESPN, can I see you in the stands? James, the ugly tourist. Golly jeepers, this is early. Robert Bone just became a member. Well, Robert, thank you so much. Wow. I can't believe that. I can't believe I got 2 new members. That's great. I look forward to interacting with you guys in the member section. I really do. Thank you so much. Whenever I travel internationally, I see English on most signs under the native language, but never Tagalog. English is the de facto universal language. All international pilots have to use English. Yes, they do. They do. All accepted air traffic control systems throughout the world, even in Russia, all right, have to use English. GMN says, funny with countries recognizing a failed terrorist state, but avoids to recognize Taiwan that is a functioning democracy and an economic hub. Taiwan is an interesting subject, to be honest with you, GMM. I can understand, quite frankly, I can understand where the Chinese get off, the mainland Chinese, argue that it's theirs. And I can understand, because of the historical events, where Taiwanese Chinese feel, or Taiwanese, they don't consider themselves Taiwanese Chinese, where Taiwanese consider themselves an independent country. So that's one of the really difficult ones to deal with, I'm sure. Ruby says, planning to visit again in February, then heading for a European tour later in the year. Wow, Ruby, that'll be fun. That'll be a ton of fun. I hope you and your husband have a great time. Are you going with a group or are you going by yourself? What is the Dillman mascot? I have no idea, but I bet Ruby might know. Everyone, please don't forget. Yes, thank you, Slick Rick. Please do hit the thumbs up. Let's push this out a little bit. There's makeup for my non-performing. My last video was an absolute flop. And my next video is going to be probably a flop because YouTube is not going to push it out. So Ruby says, not sure of the mascot, but it's the Fighting Maroons. Apologies, but I was focused in my studies and not the social side of it. There you go. So funny. So funny. So when it comes to things that are going on here in Angeles, they've been working on Fields Avenue now they started digging the first hole on that street like 5 months ago. They are still digging up. They've got traffic is gotten to a point where it's just stupid. Literally, it can take by trike from where we live to, say, Tequila Reef. All right, it can take 10, 15 minutes because of the all the obstruction and everything else. Whereas beforehand, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. I wish they would hurry up and finish that. Ruby says, just us planning our own trip as advised from friends who've been there. Well, I hope you have a blast, Ruby. I hope you have an absolute blast. McLovin saying, yep, have a good time. Henry Bautista, my spelling sucks, though I love Shakespeare play, specifically Julius Caesar. Where Mark Anthony says, cry havoc and let slip. Yeah, it's a pretty famous quote. It's been used by many a villain and many a good guy, but it's been used by many of the villains as well. I'm trying to remember, there's a couple movies. What was it with Kevin Costner? The Postman. I don't know. You probably too old for a lot of you guys to remember where the his villain says that cry havoc and let slip the dogs of war. That was an interesting one. So yeah, so traffic pretty much sucks right now, and I wish they would hurry up and get that fixed. I see that they are trying to make some exceptions. So we have to kind of watch when we go to Manila. All right. They have odd and even days on license tags. And it's kind of like we can drive into Manila, but if we spend the night, the next day we take the chance of getting pulled over by LTO getting out. Now, once we get on the Skyway, it doesn't apply. All right. And for you, those of you that aren't familiar with the Skyway, think of it like this from wherever you live. You have a major city and you have like a beltway around the city. Well, that's where the Skyway, the Philippines is about 20 years behind on that. Skyway is a big chunk of that. It's kind of like a belt loop that surrounds the city, and so once you get on that, the rules don't apply. But we're going to be in Makati when we go. Generally, when we go to Manila, we're in Makati. It's only a 2-hour drive. Actually, not even 2 hours from where we live here in Angeles City, and we have to actually like take a chance or spend the night. It's easier just to spend the night. The Red Street doing what it's meant to be. Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. So we went to dinner Thursday night with our friends, and we went to a couple bars after dinner. Yeah, the street isn't crowded, but I got to tell you, we went and we had a drink at 3 different bars because, we've been here. We've known these people. All right. We know some of the owners. We know some of the managers. We know a lot of the waitresses and hostesses and even dancers. Okay. And so it's a social event. We drop by. Some of the guys in our group are single guys, so we have to kind of appeal. You know how it is when you travel in a group, everybody kind of tries to keep everybody active and involved. And so we went by 3 bars. I had 2 cocktails and then a bottled water. With that being said, they were busy. All 3 of them were busy. Now, we ate dinner, went to 3 bars, and were home by 10 o'clock at night, which is actually a little later than usual. Usually we're home by 9:30. So, but they were busy. Now, I did run into Steve. Well, let me just rephrase that. For those of you that are aware, some of you know more about Walking Street than others. The rumor out there is that Wolfpack has taken over Atlantis and Dollhouse, and that is not exactly true. One of the original Wolfpack investor owners all right, and he's still an investor owner, is going alone in Atlantis and then Dollhouse. He is, so it's not going to be a Wolfpack bar. It won't be owned by the Wolfpack company, all right, by the Wolfpack group, but it may be affiliated. I don't know. I've got to sit down and talk to, try and find time to talk to Steve about that, one of the owners. Star Trek. Yeah, Star Trek again. Well, who was it? Khan in Star Trek that said that? I can't remember. Welcome to my favorite bit of Americana is John Wayne. He was a real man. You know, he was an actor. And apparently he was a pretty nice guy. GMM, 2:40 a.m. here in Bangkok. Time to hit the bed. Another working week is over. GMM, take care. Love Bangkok. Absolutely. Love Thailand. Arlene and I go twice a year. Odd even scheme is to, yeah, it is. It is. It's because of the traffic. Traffic is just horrible. It's horrible in Manila. Henry Bautista, kind of scary in Manila right now, the violence going on there. There's not that much violence, Henry. Really and truly. I mean, to have had as many people turn out for the protest over the flood project control money, the amount of violence was pretty low. I mean, don't get me wrong, Henry, you're right. There were some people hurt. There were some people hurt seriously, but considering there were tens of thousands of people across the nation that turned out, and considering the congestion of crowding in Manila, with that type of congestion, it doesn't surprise me that there was some violence, and it doesn't surprise me. There's a lot of talk out there that said that there were a lot of paid protesters. So, who knows? We'll have to watch more. Arlene, literally, I fell asleep watching TV last night. Arlene was laying in bed with her phone watching the latest news on the hearings for the flood control investigation. Arlene is like watching that like crazy. Ruby is a John Wayne who's into gun advocate. He was a gun advocate. If I'm not mistaken, I think he was a member of the NRA. He was a big believer. He actually owned a ranch. Okay. When you live in an area with wild animals, I mean, you got to remember, they have cougars, they have mountain lions, they have bears. America has animals that will kill you. Okay. And America is a big gun country. I mean, I'll be honest. I had to give my guns away. I had 2 hunting rifles, a shotgun, and 2 pistols. But I legally gave mine to my brother, documented it, paperwork. America is a big gun advocate country. Henry Bautista, the Wrath of Khan, you're right. Yeah, I was a big Star Trek fan. Ruby says the riots in the Philippines now is no comparison now Ruby actually was raised during the Marcos era. Ruby's probably the right age to have been and seen the rioting and the influence of that on campus as a college student. And it was much, much different, much than, much more violent. It really and truly was. John Wayne is from a long long era of no drugs and poor parenting. That's true. The nuclear family was much bigger then than it is now in the U.S. But, unfortunately, it is a byproduct of American civilization. And there's not much I can say about it. We see it. Robert Bone says, don't know about John Wayne, but Charlton Heston was a Second Amendment advocate. Yeah, Charlton Heston was like, I don't know if he was he was like a bigwig at the NRA. Ruby says, I understand owning a gun for protection, but semi-automatic weapons, no way. Ruby, it's a debate that, well, first off, most guns are semi-automatic. You pull the trigger, it fires. You pull the trigger, it fires. But I do understand what you're maybe getting at, or saying assault rifle type situations, or pistols with extended grips and trigger bumps and things like that. I don't really know. I have a very close friend who is I think it's called a Class 3 firearms. He can actually own machine guns, but this guy owns a gun range. He actually is one of like only 3 ranges that certifies pilots to carry guns. They have to have a special certification to carry in the U.S. And so he does a lot of certification out there in the Charlotte area. It's a big international airport. And, it is what it is. Slick Rick, bumping that schedule up there for us. Thank you so much, Slick. Henry says, Henry Bautista says, no rifles here. Yeah. And I mean, if you're not a hunter and you don't need it for protection, I mean, even where I lived, all right, our home in Phoenix was on the very northern edge of Phoenix. My backyard was what they call BLM land, Bureau of Land Management. That's federal land, okay? That desert stretched all the way. You could literally ride a 4-wheel drive vehicle from Phoenix to California without leaving BLM land on the dirt all the way. It was all desert and woods and forestry and everything else. All right. But my point is that here I am in a very secure, gated, guarded development. All right. A what I would call a high-end development. My backyard literally backed up to BLM land. It was not uncommon to have wild horses, wild donkeys passing through behind my land. And I had neighbors. I mean, everybody got along with them. But in addition to that, we had mountain lions and coyotes. We literally one night had a coyote jump our back fence. All right. So I'm laying in bed. I hear my dog. Now, you got to know my dog, I had a French Mastiff, a Grand Champion bloodline French Mastiff. This thing weighed 172 pounds, all right, stood 6'4", taller than me, and he looked like a lion almost, is so muscular walking, a hairless lion. They're short-haired, all right? The sweetest, nicest dog in the world. I mean, just if you robbed my house, this dog would help carry my shit out. It just that's it. If you threw him a steak, he was just going to lay there, and he didn't care who was around. So, anyways, so my pool is in the middle of the yard. So the dog door and the dog area is to the right, and then the pool, and then a little bit of yard and everything else. I hear Baxter's barking, and that's very unusual for him. So I look outside. So Baxter is on the right side of the pool as I'm facing it, and this pool is lengthwise, and this coyote is on the left side of the pool. And Baxter's barking at this coyote, and his tail's just wagging. He's looking at this coyote like, hey, I got a friend. This is like being at the dog park. Let's play. That coyote hauled ass. But I didn't know what was going to happen. So I reached over. I had a small gun safe on the in the nightstand next to my bed, biometric lock, punch it, grabbed my 9mm, and that was going to be the end of that coyote. But as I opened I had these like 18-foot glass window walls, I guess. I had a huge master bedroom. As I opened that up, all right, that coyote jumped over the fence and took off. So, welcome, Planet. If I was America, I'd own a gun. I'm English, so I have many knives. There you go. I don't know. A couple of years ago, wasn't that a problem in England? They were having a problem with people with knives. Seems like I remember something like that. I don't know. Do they still have that kind of a problem? Be back laundry. I think Henry means later, but that works. Robert Bourne. Sports shooting is popular with my friends. Some also hunt. I shoot from my back porch. I never shot from well, that's not true. Okay? I never shot a gun, a firearm from my back porch. I had a buddy that had this super high-powered pellet rifle. I had a damn woodpecker. And if you're familiar with the homes in the West, a lot of them have stucco. This woodpecker would show up, and it would sound like a jackhammer in my house. And I had a big house. I have a big house, 5,000 plus square feet, not counting a 3-car garage. He was sharpening his beak on by pecking on that stucco. And then once in a while, that wasn't good enough for him. He'd go up to the gutter, to the rain gutter, and start pounding that, and it would sound like a machine gun. So I had to eliminate him because he would not go away. So I borrowed my buddy's pellet rifle, waited, and took care of that problem. Ruby, feels safer here with our gun laws. Certain exemptions are farmers to protect their animals from prey. No mass shootings to be concerned or worried about. Yeah, I mean, there are definitely advantages, you know. Good afternoon, Dr. Mike. Good day, Todd. What are you doing up? Wow, how you doing, Todd? Todd M. Wow, I picked up 3 new members. Man, I've got members-only videos in the making right now. There are 3 of them. I should have the first one done. So the newest members-only videos are coming up. And wow, that's, geez, this makes up. I pick up 3 members. I had that super chat. All right. That will make up for YouTube pissing all over my next video. YouTube told me YouTube told me that my video that's coming out at 7:15 this morning, 7:15 East Coast US, is that it's not suitable for it's not suitable to run ads. And I guess it just didn't like the content of the video. And that's just a shame. I'm going to put it anyways. I don't care. Like I said, that's one of the advantages of doing YouTube as a hobby is we don't care whether it makes money or not. We don't care at all. If it gets views, if it gets our point across, if it brings forward interaction, all right, people talking and interacting with each other, that to us is more important than anything. That means more than anything. Well, thank you so much, Todd. Thank you so much. We certainly appreciate it. So talked about the UK, talked about Starmer, talked about the flood control riots here, which I wouldn't really call them riots. They were protests. There was some stuff, but not a big deal. I heard, I don't know if it's true. I could have been somebody just running their mouth. I heard that they are bringing back at all the immigration offices the 6-month extension. I don't know if it's true. I really and truly don't. I have no idea. Watch this magic. My green cup, my magic cup. So I have no idea about that. As far as Walking Street goes, like I said, we went out to dinner Thursday night. We went to 3 bars. I had 2 cocktails and a bottle of water. All 3 of those bars were busy. All 3 of them were busy. So the crowds on the street are nowhere near what they used to be pre-pandemic. And I wouldn't expect the crowds on the street right now to be anything because the weather for the past month here has been absolutely horrible. So, Mike, I got to run. Take care, Slick Rick. Thanks for dropping in. Thank you so much. Todd M., I took a vacation day today for PT, so I saw you were on live during my afternoon. Welcome to Planet Dirt. Mike, do I smoke? Do I smoke? Yes, I do. And I'm not proud of it. It is the worst, nastiest, most unhealthy habit you can have. And that's just the truth. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to deny it. I'm not going to, that's one of the things we just don't do. California Bear, what is going on, CB? Where are you at? Are you back in California now, or are you still down there? Henry Bautista's back. Hubby was given 1-year visa at immigration when he arrived in Manila on his own. We were surprised. You know what, Ruby? That happened to me. I got, during pandemic, I had to go back to the U.S. for my mom. She was in a hospital. I was in the U.S. for 2 months. Arlene was with me. The Philippines then changed its entry laws, and I had to get a 9G visa to I think it's a 9G. Was it 9G? No. I can't remember what it was. No, not a 9G. I think a 9G is business. But I had to get a visa. I had to Arlene had to come back. We were closing on our condo. We were supposed to be moving. So with that being said, I had to stay with my mom for an extra 2 weeks. And then I got a visa. I came in and they said, oh, you don't need this. You know what? We're going to give you a Balikbayan visa. So that was interesting. So it's interesting to see that your husband, so he just showed them the paperwork that he was married to you and they gave him a Balikbayan visa. That's great. That's tremendous. It really is. Okay. So let's see what else is going on. We talked about Red Street. We talked about the protests. We talked about England, which just pisses me off. We talked to Australian Prime Minister, pissed me off too. I just can't get over that right now. Todd says, osteoarthritis has me in physical therapy. Is that available in Clark? Well, I don't know offhand. Certainly physical therapy is available. Is it focused for people that have osteoarthritis? I don't know, to be honest with you. I really, Todd, I wish I could give you a better answer. I know they have lots of physical therapy, but is it focused for that? I don't know. You might want to send an email to a couple of the physical therapy companies and ask them. Mike, do you know anything about dual citizenship? I do not. I do not know anything about dual citizenship. I will never qualify for Filipino citizenship, so I've never looked into it. I did look at dual citizenship in the Cayman Islands years ago, and it would not work for me. I could have gotten citizenship there. Mike, what's your thoughts on gold? Wish I had more of it. Wish I had a lot of it. I don't have gold. I have never been a precious metals person. I wish I did. All right. But I've never been a precious metals person. So I just don't, when it comes to investing, I stick, I have a broker and I pretty much follow what he says. Nope, just passport, saw his stamps, previous ballot buying. Good, great, wow. So they saw on his passport that he had previous ballot buying stamps, asked if you were in the country. He said you were there. They gave him another one. That was nice. That was great. Welcome to Planet Earth says, do you know gold is stardust? It's from meteors. No, I don't know anything about it. Skip it all, just joined, missed the England part, going next year. Anything to worry about? They've had a lot of protesting going on in England. Immigration is a big, huge homelessness. There's a lot going on there, skip it all. I would be looking and following the news very closely. Robert Bone, I smoke too. Going to drink a beer in a few minutes. You know something? I don't drink at home, ever. I mean, I guess I've had a couple drinks over the years, but, Christmas, Thanksgiving, a birthday party, I might have a drink. Okay. If I drink, it'll be once a week when we go out for dinner. I smoke. I love it. Yeah, I hate it. I hate it, but I love doing it. It'll be the death of me. There's no doubt about it. Philippine peso weakens against the U.S. dollar because of government corruption, among other factors. There's all kinds of reasons. Every time the stock market goes up, the peso goes like yesterday at like 4 o'clock, the peso, international peso rate was 58.10. And now it's 58.16, which surprises me because in America, the market's up 299 points before the close. So it's up at 46,247. The Dow is, okay? But even the NASDAQ, the New York exchange, they're both up as well. So Who knows? Skip it all. Smoker here too. Need to be a quitter. No kidding. Buy gold EDFs. Yeah. You know something, Todd? I'm old enough to where I have to be cautious now. I'm not like 2008 when the market crashed that I had another 10 years to make up for that loss. So I have to be more careful. Skip it all. Maybe bypass England, Scotland, and Ireland, see what happens. No, I wouldn't bypass it. I would just be aware of it. I think it's maybe a little too early. Henry says, I wish I can go home in Tarlac, not so far from you. No, Tarlac's not far. It's only a couple hours drive. Marcos is crashing the peso. I don't know what's crashing the peso. I wish I had a crystal ball and I could tell you with absolute certain definitive proof that this is what's going to happen or that's what's going to happen, or my shirt's crooked there. But I tend to stay away from making those kinds of statements because I would hate for one of our subscribers or members to get bad financial advice from me and lose money. Ruby, have you got your cough checked already? No, it's getting much, much better. I know what it is. Ruby, I had a sinus infection. It drained into my chest and I got pneumonia from it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I've been on a high dose of penicillin. I'm not coughing up any shit anymore. I don't have that rattle anymore. I'm doing much, much better. Now, had it not responded to that, then I would. So, yeah. Hector, the stock market has become a market of vibes and memes rather than fundamentals. I'm back to cash until all things settle. When is it going to settle, though? What is going to determine when it settles, Hector? That's the problem. Cash is going backwards because of inflation. It is. It is. I'm looking, like right now, I'm looking at, I'm waiting to see what Arlen's dividends are going to be in her Paggy Big account this end of the year, just to see where it's going. Skip it all. No worries. In the UK, it's safe. Elections in 2030. There you go. And Planet Dirt lives there. He knows. All right. Or he's from there. I think he lives in Bangkok right now, or he's working in Bangkok, but he lives there. Let's see what else is going on. I think that's about it. So, it's about time for me to warm up this coffee. In my office, I don't have the air conditioning running in my office, just a fan, and it's quite nice. But my coffee has gotten to be room temperature pretty much. That's not going to work for me. Henry Butts, I have type 2 diabetes. One of my problems keeping me going to the Philippines. Healthcare sucks and expensive. No, it's not. I'm a type 1 insulin dependent diabetic, Henry. Henry, I've been on the needle for diabetes since birth. I take an average of 4 to 5 shots of insulin a day. All right. So between my oral medications, between my insulin, which is these are large doses because I'm highly insulin resistant. I've been on insulin all my life. I still, all my medications, $400 a month. And that includes everything. Everything. Hector says there are some money market instruments that pay at inflation rates without the risk. Fidelity has a cash account that looks pretty good. What are they getting in their cash account? Hector, if you happen to know. Ruby, whenever there's a market fall, stay with it because the market will rise more than you can see. Yeah, it does. Leo from Frio, who cares about the peso? Let's move to Surigao. Well, Leo, I don't know. I don't think I could live in Surigao. I assume you're talking about Surigao Island. I couldn't live on an island. I think it's too limited for me. Other people are very happy there. I don't know. Leo, where are you? Where are you from? Are you in Surigao? Ruby, market is superheated right now, so it will fall. And yes, you're right, Hector. The market is going to fall. Hector, 3.5 to 4%. That's not bad. That's not bad. Henry, Ruby says she's a type 2 diabetic too. No concern medical. Yeah, I have a good endocrinologist. I have a good kidney doctor. I have a good cardiologist. All here in the Philippines. Mike, do you have a Roth IRA? Yes, I do. I converted all of mine to a Roth years ago, or not years ago, but I converted my 401k into a Roth. And I still have some 401k also too, though, but most of it's in the Roth. Hector says there were signs back in the .com. Yeah, there were signs and I didn't pay attention to it. Dirt, I wish I lived in Bangkok. I live in Nigel Fargus Clacton on the sea. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were in Bangkok. I'm a Reform member and proud patriot, pro-Trump, pro-Israel. Been visiting the Philippines 15 years. Got half daughter and 2 adopted. Wow. How hard was it to adopt, Dirt? Was it a difficult, long process? Ruby says, here in Australia, we have high interest rates and the bank's at 5%. Yeah, Arlene made 7.2% on her money in her Pagabig Ibig account last year. Her annualized return, 7.2. Mike, I have bad. Yeah, Dan P's right. All right. Yeah, but you know something, Dan? I have an international airport 15 minutes down the street. That is, you're right. You're 100% right. But, I do live, but it's a big island. You got to admit, it's a big island. But Dan is correct. Vanguard cash accounts paying 3.65 now. Capital One's 3.5. Wow. Skip it all. Do you get burned on the taxes when you converted? Well, I don't know whether you say you get burned. You pay taxes. All right. I planned it out. All right. So I had a major business. I had a big business. And I had a brilliant CPA. Okay. And we were talking, and I had a lot of deductions and losses that I could apply personally one year. And he said, Mike, this might be the time that you convert because you're going to pay 34% in taxes on this money. All right. And you've got the deductions to knock that down, to recognize and realize that that's going to be about 9%. And so that's what I did. But if I was in a normal position, you would have to pay the normal taxes. Some of those signs are flashing now, which include AI bubble predicted to burst soon, impending government shutdown doesn't help. Yeah, I don't worry that much about the shutdowns. I really don't. What's it going to do? I mean, honestly, let's talk about that for a second. What are they going to do? How long do you think they're going to shut the government down? How long do you think it can go? It can't. 2 weeks, all right? If it even happens. Henry says, I wish I can get a Roth, but I have an SSDI, so can't get that. Not enough. That's not enough to put in monthly. Well, Henry, you have to focus on your priorities. Last year, my super fund return rate was 15%. I won't complain. No. When you're in the market, it's totally different. Totally different. My market returns last year were incredible. Absolutely incredible. It's crazy what my fund markets did. But for Arlene, she is limited there are limitations that Arlene faces with respect to investment positions. And so, getting 6-7% on her money is a good deal. Todd M., if you are 63 to 65, be careful because your conversion to a Roth will boost your income during the window where Medicare looks at your income, and it may increase your Medicare premiums forever. Well, that's a thought. I didn't know that. Over here, when you draw your retirement fund at 60, it's tax-free. It's not in the U.S. Skip it all. 5-year wait before you can use the funds on the Roth, correct? I don't know. I moved my money into the Roth almost 10 years, before I did anything with it. So I don't know. Jealous, Todd says. That's funny. So, yeah, I mean, one of the things that's so important is getting stable income while you're here as an expat, or whether you go anywhere as an expat. I would like to say you can't count on Social Security, but I do believe you can. I don't think that they're going to, once you get on Social Security, them taking a haircut off of you, those odds are slim to none. But, you still need a steady income. You still need something. Medicare, Irma looks back at income from 2 years ago, but raises every year, not forever. There you go. My Medicare premiums go up the normal amount. You know what? My Medicare premiums, I still carry Medicare, okay? My Medicare premiums go up every year the same exact amount as my Social Security cost of living goes up. So it's pretty much a wash. Things smooth out over the long term, but there is a sequence of return risk, especially if the market crashes before or shortly after one's impending retirement. Make sure you have enough funds. Yeah, you always got to make sure you got funds. That's for sure. Weather dips. True, skip it all. So I'm actually so surprised that we have 20 plus people turn out at 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning. That's unbelievable for a live stream. Cost of living in California high. Fast food here is darn expensive. Burger meal, $20, almost not even enough to fill me up. Wow. You know, I was talking to my daughter this morning, and she told me she was out actually picking up Chinese to go to bring home. And she told me that it was going to cost her like $28 for these 2 Chinese entrees and fried rice. And I'm like, you're got to be kidding me. Are you serious? And she's like, yeah, that's what it's costing. Funny that I found out I was entitled to apply for Philippine SSA because of my previous contributions in the 90s. However, it's only $100 a month. Yeah. You know what? We will, as of, I think it's 2 more years. I think Arlene has 2 more years of contributions, and she will have fully funded to the maximum her Philippine SSS. Now, she can continue to keep depositing, but it's like, honey, what they're paying, I mean, I know it's just excess money that we're pouring in there, but the return on investment for that is somewhat wanky. Ricky, thanks. I don't know, didn't know it was permanent. Welcome, Planner. Henry, it's $15 for a box meal at Popeyes in the UK. That's $20. Wow. Wow. Henry says, I can't bring my SSDI here. Then don't come, Henry. You know something? If you lose your SSDI, you may probably never get it back. Stay in the U.S. Sorry. That's just, you got to look out for you. You got to do what's best for you. Living in the Philippines might be fun, might be adventurous, might be nice, might be good to go back to your roots, but you'll never get that. I bet you never get that SSDI back. Bruce says, when you want to pay high school dropout $20 an hour and benefits just to hand you a burger, you're going to have to pay big money for that burger. That's true. That's true. But at the same time, if you got people that are trying to work for a living, I don't know, do you think $20 an hour is enough to live off of in the States nowadays? Bruce says, Skip It All says, Bruce, but they can supersize it for you. There you go. That's funny. That's right. It's funny because last night, Arlene made burgers. So we actually had homemade hamburgers last night for dinner. They were pretty damn good too, to be honest with you. But can you live in the U.S. on $20 an hour, 40-hour work week? Can you do that? My God, it's Maximus. Good morning, Maximus. What are you doing up this early? What's a living wage in the U.S.? I don't know anymore. I really and truly don't know what a living wage is considered to be in the U.S. I would think it'd be hard to make a living for under $50,000 a year. I would think that would be difficult. But I guess maybe it kind of goes back to here in the Philippines. What's a living wage here? And, we get expats that argue all the time what it costs. Maximus says SSDI is transferable, but SSI is not. Okay. See, I don't know anything about either one of them. I've never been on SSI or SSDI or any disability. So Ricky says it depends on where you live. And I think probably that same argument applies here in the Philippines. Can you live on $1,500 a month, $1,000 a month, $2,000, $800, $5,000? It depends on where you live. Not Empty. Hey, good morning, Not Empty. Never thought that flipping burgers should support a family of 4. I would think it'd be hard to do. SSDI, Maximus says SSDI will not get canceled if out of the country. There you go. You're on a subject, quite honestly, that we don't know a lot about because we just don't have it. And we don't know anybody that personally does. So, there may be people out there that know people and they've gone through it all. SSI, you cannot be out of the country for more than 30 days. Okay. That makes sense. Maximus, what are you doing up so early? I thought you were here in the Philippines. Skip it all, Remby. Okay. I'm not sure what Remby is. Rent, utilities, food, petrol, etc. All right. Bruce, working at a fast food joint was supposed to be for kids. Still living at home with the parents was not meant to be a living wage job. Learn a skill if you want a living wage. No skill in a fast food. I don't know. Bruce, one of these days, the skill in fast food is going to be the guy that fixes the robots that serve that fast food. There you go. So my question is, are the fast food corporations making good revenue and profits to justify their stock prices? Does anybody know? The raise in wages for workers should reduce their revenue. I don't know. I don't invest in McDonald's. I don't invest in Wendy's, Chipotle, any of the other places. Remember getting $1.65 an hour in high school washing dishes? Yeah, I do. I thought, so my father is Greek. My mother's French. My father's Greek. And when we moved to Charlotte, North Carolina, there was a restaurant, and the guy that owned it was Greek, and he always paid us, the kids, high school kids, all right, to wash dishes in his restaurants on Friday and Saturday nights. And I would go there at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. His restaurant opened at 6. This is best I remember. But I think we had to be there at 5, help the waitresses get stuff situated. And then we washed dishes and took out the trash. And it was a busy, busy place. I mean, this restaurant did very well. And I would work Friday night and Saturday night, and he would close at 10:30, and we were generally done and out the door by 11:30 at night, and we would get $10 a night. And and all the dog bones and leftover steak and everything else. I mean, we're talking 25-pound, trash can bag of steak scraps and stuff like that to give our dogs. And I thought that was big money back then. Big money. Planet Dirt. I'm a truck driver, 20 years now, but I'm going to become a driving instructor because I love the pain. I don't know that I could do that. How much was a burger when people were making $1.65? I don't know. Somebody might know that. I don't. In most places, $40,000 of wages is plenty for a family of 4. They would also get thousands in EITC plus free heavily subsidized, free or heavily subsidized health care, plus other government benefits. Yeah, but if you wipe that out, if you wiped out all of those government perks, what would it take? Not empty. What would it take for a family of 4? Maximus, I'm here in the PH. I'm still adjusting to the time change. Fell asleep last night around 10 p.m. I usually wake up after 5 hours. Yeah, me too. I usually I can't sleep more than 4 or 5 hours. Haven't been able to. But like I said, last night I fell asleep at 8 o'clock. So at 1 o'clock this morning, I was up and at it. And I got a lot done. So at 3 o'clock, I was bored. I was on my second pot of coffee. And I said, we're just going to, because YouTube pissed me off about the video that I've got coming out at 7:15. All right. They're not going to monetize it. They're not going to push it. It's not advertiser friendly. Well, I'm putting the video out anyways. I'm just going to do a live stream also. And, I was just irritated. Maximus, let me know. Usually you're up here in Angeles City. Let's have breakfast one morning. Skip it all. The place I worked at was like $10 for a burger. It was a nice place. Wow. I don't know. We had burgers last night, and I don't think we had $10 in them. Hector, my guess, AI will increase productivity exponentially. Displaced workers will get universal basic income from increases in GDP. Eventually, Hector, I think we will see something similar to that. I do, but I don't think it's going to happen in my lifetime. That's for sure. Henry says, my plan is if I go home and Tarlac, cook instead of buying like McDonald's, no fast food, live with my brother, no rent, play tennis every day for exercise. That'll work. But you've got to watch out for your health care, Henry. If you're on SSDI, you've got a problem. You've got to be careful. Ruby, Dirt, hope you've saved on your retirement fund. Now no one who didn't and regretted not doing so. Earned big money while working but didn't think of retirement, relying on government-aged pensions only. Yeah, I got to be, you know what, Ruby? Americans are very foolish about that. I'm not knocking it. We have most of our subscribers, members, viewers, they understood. They were raised to know that Social Security was not what they were supposed to rely on for their retirement, that it was supposed to be a supplement for their retirement. And, but damn Americans still, I still remember a burger, fries, and a Coke and get change back from your dollar. Holy shit, Bruce. Change for your dollar, a burger, fries, and a Coke for under $1? Wow. Not empty. In Arkansas, a family of 4. Oh, I pick on Arkansas so much. In Arkansas, a family of 4 could get by on $40,000. Of course, no cable. I harp on Butt Lick, Arkansas, of which there is no place called Butt Lick anywhere in the U.S. that I've been able to find. But I had a friend that was from Arkansas in college, and he lived from a community, near a community that he called Butt Lick. And he said it is pretty much what it says it is. And it's always stuck in my mind. Hector says, exactly, Bruce. Don't get excited over people making $1.65 an hour back in the 60s. Ruby, I've got until 2049 until state pension. Whoa. Which is peanuts, worst in Europe probably. So I'm saving 1/10 ounce gold coins every month. Wow. So Dirt lives in the UK. There is an old English sitcom. It's called Still Game, Stillgame. And Still Game is about two old pensioners. Now, I don't know if their accents are. Anyways, it's about two old pensioners who live in an old city full of old pensioners and their lives. It's got like 8-9 seasons. It's kind of funny. The accents are a bit heavy. I have to have a closed caption on sometimes, but it's a pretty funny thing. But they talk about how dismal their aged pension is. That was in the late 70s, Skip It All says. Bruce says, when I was a preteen, I used to get 5-cent ice cream cones at Dairy Queen. Wow. We didn't have a Dairy Queen where I was as a teenager. Maximus, Doc, I'm no longer in Angeles. I was only there last weekend because I arrived at Clark. I'm usually there for 2 nights before heading out to my province. I'll be back before heading back to the U.S. Well, let me know, Maximus. We can maybe if you're going to find yourself holding over, we can have breakfast or something. Hector Gupta, skip it all. My point exactly. Probably even less than the 60s. Sorry I didn't have Chat GPT. Not empty. We are applying for a city license. You'll be our first mayor. Not me. Not me. I'm retired. I don't work. All right? I do not work. My life in retirement is busy enough. I remember about 1980, whole chicken less than $1 in Oceanside. Yeah. I remember buying, when I was in college, I could get 10 boxes of Kraft macaroni and cheese for $1, and I could buy ramen noodles. I think I could buy, like, maybe even then 10 packs for $1. And, it was cheap back then. That's for sure. Smile, be happy. Buttlick, Arkansas is a beautiful town. You know what? My buddy Jimmy in college, he lived somewhere in Arkansas, and he said there was a community about 20 miles from him that's not a town, but it was a community, and it was called Buttlick. All right? He said it had a couple hundred people, but it was funny. And so that name, I use it in my videos sometimes, and that name is just stuck in my mind. Maximus, I had a burger earlier this week here in the Philippines, and it was 508 pesos for a double cheeseburger, just the burger sandwich itself. No side of fries, American prices, but good burger. Wow. Well, my wife made a burger last night, and it wasn't a double burger, but it was a cheeseburger with lettuce and sliced onion, a lot of raw onion. I love onion on my burger, on a hamburger bun, and even had that Hellman's, it's a spread that's pretty much like McDonald's special sauce, all right? And it was delicious, but it wasn't a double. But still, 508, that's like almost $10. Hector, if you're on a state or local government pension check, your agency's unfunded liabilities and plan accordingly. There's a lot of talk about unfunded liabilities, and I did a video on exactly how risky some people's pensions currently are. How much was the wage rate in the 80s, though? What's the retirement age in the USA? It's 67 in the UK. Full retirement is, the Social Security describes it 2 different ways, but they consider full retirement, depending on when you were born, at 67. Early retirement, 62. Extended retirement, I think, is 70, something like that. I mean, some of it depends on when you were born. Butt lick needs you. Yeah. Nah, I think I could pass on that. Hector, if you ground down local Filipino beef, it will taste good enough as a burger. I don't know. I have no idea. The stuff we buy is ground beef, and we get it at S&R or at Hypermarket. Todd says, Ruby, I made $3.35 in the 80s, minimum wage. And Ruby wants to know, was life better for you then? Maximus, you don't realize, but I have eaten and spoken to you during breakfast at Tequila Reef a couple of times. You just didn't realize it was me because I didn't tell you my online. You know, Maximus, I think I do. I have often considered that you have been at breakfast, all right, in the past at Tequila Reef. In fact, when you were on Sick Grandpa's live stream a couple of days ago, a week ago, something like that. And he was out and you said, hey, come on, you know what? Meet me at Tequila Reef. And I was like, I'm going to crash that party. If Sick Grandpa says that, I'm going to crash that party. Because I had just had dinner with Sick Grandpa the night before. And I was surprised to actually see that he was out because he was really sick at dinner. He had a terrible head cold. Ruby, my parents split and my mom was not trained, so I grew up in poverty. Yeah, a lot of people did. Dan P., McD's double cheeseburger price, $6.19. Are you kidding me? A double cheeseburger? Wait a minute. Let me look here on Grab. Let me see what I can get. What do I want? I want McDonald's. Okay. And what am I looking for? Double cheeseburger. How much is a double cheeseburger at McDonald's? A cheesy eggsy with ham. Sausage, egg, McMuffin. You know, that kind of pisses me off. The one thing I love at McDonald's, the only thing, I love a sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit. And you can't get biscuits here. They're always the McMuffin. This may not have their burger menu because it's so early in the morning. Well, I see burger, steak, and rice. Chicken. Chicken nuggets. All right, what do we got here? Burger. How much is a double cheeseburger at McDonald's? Well, it's not on the Grab app this early in the morning. So I guess they're not making double cheeseburgers this early in the morning. Or I simply can't see it. So I don't know. But that's crazy, Dan. $6.19? Miracle Whip. Nah, I don't like Miracle Whip. Oh no, Todd, please. No. Oh. What was the best decade in the U.S. as far as quality of life? 2005 to 2015 is what Hector says for him. Best quality of life. You know, I would say 2000 to 2010 for me. Leo says, good morning, Leo. Besides Medicare at 65, you can buy a supplement. Yeah. Henry says he can't remember. Maximum is the imposter. I think I've met Maximus. There's no doubt in my mind, according to Maximus, he says he has spoken to me. I just didn't know it was him. And I have often wondered, there's Maximus and there's one other guy that I've often wondered that I've spoken to at Tequila Reef, but they've never said who they were. There's a guy out there. He never comes on live streams. I've never seen him on a live stream. The sociopath. I think I've spoken to him a couple times too. He and I don't agree on some things. Hector says, my income peaked in 2018, so I had to work at least a year at that peak income level before retiring to maximize. Okay. Bruce says, the cost of a Chick-fil-A sandwich varies by location, but generally between $5 and $7, with prices sometimes $9. I don't know. You know what? That doesn't surprise me because I like Chick-fil-A. Maximus, yeah, last weekend I was waiting for Ricky to go live somewhere so I can stream snipe him, but he never went live while I was there. I left town by the time he felt better and went live. Yeah, I had dinner with him. He was staying that trip. He was staying at Candy Palace, and he was actually staying just a couple floors below where our condo is. And we contacted each other, and I said, hey, you know what? You're not feeling well. How about we just go up to the rooftop and chat and have a drink? And he had a Diet Coke. I had a Diet Coke. Then all of a sudden we ordered dinner, and we sat up there and ate dinner and chatted for a little bit. But it was an entertaining evening. I thought Maximus was go-go Bobo, but I am wrong. No, I don't think Maximus is go-go. That's the average. Maximus, did your wife use Ladies' Choice? That shit is nasty. Come on, Maximus. Yes, she tried to buy that shit. She swore by that when we first moved to the Philippines, and she went shopping and she got mayonnaise, and mayonnaise was on the list, and she came with that, and I said, what is this Ladies' Choice? Huh, okay. That stuff is disgusting. That is, you know what that reminds me of? It reminded me of toe jam. It was so nasty. Oh. Ruby, nowadays people have non-essential items in their monthly budget. Back in the 80s, no expenses for cable, internet, subscriptions, mobile plans, extra vehicle instead of one. And that's true. People live beyond their means, and that's been a problem for 30 years. Henry, somebody told me that Jollibee tastes better, Chicken Joy compared to Mickey D's here. I don't know. I've never had McDonald's fried chicken, but I will tell you this much. I like Jollibee fried chicken. It's good, in my opinion. I mean, it's fried chicken, for God's sakes, I think Arlen's fried chicken is actually better, but yeah, I try and stay away from it as much as I can because I have a bad habit. Every time I order Jollibee's, I have to order the 6-pack of the peach mango pies, and that is horrible for my blood sugar. Skip it all. My mom had 3 boys on a waitress wage. Only place she could afford to feed us all was a place called Chuck Wagon Buffet. I know Chuck Wagon. I've heard of that. All you can eat crappy food but full bellies, like Golden Cross. Yes. They had one of those in, I'm trying to remember whether it was in Charlotte or whether it was in Greenville, somewhere. I don't know. Is there a Chipotle near you? No. To the best of my knowledge, there's not a Chipotle in the Philippines. Yeah, Maximus confirmed that. No Chipotle. Maximus, Jollibee Fried Chicken is rated America's best fast food fried chicken 2 years in a row. Look it up. Yeah, they are. Their fried chicken is good. I think my wife's is better, but their fried chicken is good. I can't complain. Hector says, when I was young and ambitious, I looked into buying a Chick-fil-A franchise, but found out that one had to be vetted as a practicing evangelical and active in that community to qualify. Okay, so here's something I do have experience with, Hector. I have a good friend that owns a Chick-fil-A franchise, okay? And the way he got it was he started at Chick-fil-A as a cook, server, do this, do that, worked his way up to manager. Chick-fil-A has a sponsorship program. Now, you don't have to be a go to church every Sunday person. He never was, but he was very kind, very generous, very understanding of the evangel. I mean, I can remember, I don't know, Chick-fil-A used to not be open on Sundays. You'd go to the mall and everybody else would be open, but not the Chick-fil-A place. All right. So anyways, they sponsored him. He didn't pay a dime, and he owns like 70% of a Chick-fil-A standalone place, right? They built it, they staffed it, they did the leases, they said, come on. And that's what they've done. So on a sadder note, I had a nephew that worked at Chick-fil-A who was on that same program because that's what he wanted to do. And he had a college degree, but he knew that they would do that. And he was very active in his church. And sadly, he died at 24 years old from a ruptured appendix. It's terrible. It's terrible. You wouldn't qualify. I can understand that. Bruce says, a waitress at Hooters can make more than most men make in a skilled job. Not all waitresses live in poverty. No, and the waitresses that do live in poverty, they just make accounts on OnlyFans and make $1 million. There are women on OnlyFans making $150,000 to $400,000 a year pretty easily. Bruce says, yeah, you're right. They're closed on Sunday. Yeah, I thought they were. I don't know whether they opened back, whether they decided to open up or not. Maximus, I always have a crave for Chick-fil-A on Sunday, but think God's playing a joke on me. Yeah, you know what I loved at Chick-fil-A? I love the Chick-fil-A sandwich, but I loved the toasted chicken salad sandwich toasted. Years and years ago, that was a great sandwich. Now, it has changed, all right? And I don't think 10 years ago, I don't think it was good as it was like 20 years ago. Hector says, yeah, Doc, Chick-fil-A franchise fee's only $10K, which is unheard of. Maximus, sometimes I forget it's a Sunday. I head to Chick-fil-A. I love Chick-fil-A. Bruce, no Hooters for my mom back in the 70s. Small town diner my aunt owned. We didn't have much, but we made the best of it. And yeah, you know what? There's a lot of hardworking people. And that's the bottom line. All right, folks, you know what? I didn't expect anybody to show up, and you guys have kept me busy until 5 o'clock in the morning. It is now 2 hours, and I certainly do appreciate it. I appreciate you guys being here. I thank you for the super chats that I got. Thank you for the stickers. Thank you for the memberships, the 3 people that signed up for memberships. I really, really need to say thank you. So with that being said, I'm hoping all of you have a great weekend, a safe weekend, and that we'll see you when we do our regular live stream on Monday. All right? Have a great day, and thanks so much.